What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're talking about the new data download push for the Kizuna Clash Legend Memories of the Straw Hats, Brook. Now, of course, we all know how amazing this celebration has been, and we already kind of understand what's coming next. We know that the next one's going to be Jinbei. I've already talked about that. But Brook is interesting, actually. Brook actually has some pretty unique components to him, and that is not the only character that's going to be coming out in this little celebration here. There's a lot to talk about, so we're just going to dive straight into it. And once again, shout out to Godot for posting it here. Shout out to Brandon, our resident data miner, of course. I'm pretty sure he was the one that got some of this info here. But without further ado, guys, let's jump into it. Let's go Kizuna Legend Brook. His captain ability, well, let's have a brief look here. You can see that he is going to be a slasher free spirit character with final tap. Pretty interesting. Kizuna Legend Brook boosts the attack of int, slasher, and free spirit characters by 5.75 when you have a matching slot, 5.25 times otherwise. 1.3 times health, makes int and tandem slots beneficial, and then boosts the chances of landing on a tandem slot. If the crew uses an orb boosting special, extend the orb boost effect by 1 turn, so extend the duration by 1 turn. Once per quest, if the crew's HP falls below 30%, launches crew's special headed to the promised cape at the start of the next turn. So this is pretty cool. Remember how these Straw Hat characters, they have abilities where they want you to use their special multiple times per turn. With Brook's captain ability, that is actually relatively viable. You know, you're not having to rely on other characters to reduce the character's cooldown so that you can launch the special twice with their superclass. This character, as long as you fall below 30%, he's going to activate his special ability, and then because that is an automatic activation, that doesn't actually remove his cooldown, so it means you could just launch his special again. So this has a much better design for what the Memories of the Straw Hat characters are trying to do, you know? Let's move on to that special. Reduces crew's special bind. This is silence, but it's special bind, I'm pretty sure. By 5 turns. It says silence, actually. It actually says specifically silence. It even says it in-game as well. So silence, for those of you who don't know, that's the ability where you are inflicted with the effect where you can't swipe up, you can't swipe down on a character. That's like where they have like a little speech bubble above their head, a white speech bubble, and you can't interact with that character. You can only tap to perform a normal tap. You can't do anything else with them. And because the game specifically says silence, that is the wording that they use for that. I know that the community sometimes referred to special bind as silence, and this is why I've always been campaigning for people in the community need to say that special bind is special bind. Special bind is not silence, because they've now introduced something else called silence, so I can get why there'd be a bit of overlap there. So this reduces silence by 5 turns, so that's very new. This is the first character in the game to straight up remove that debuff. If the crew has an orb boosting special when you launch the special, heals the crew for 31% of their max HP. Afterwards, applies resilience for 1 turn if HP is 30% or above when you launch the special. So remember that he will automatically launch the special when you're below 30%, which means that this effect, where it says that if you're above 30% when you launch the special, you'll get resilience, this will not activate when you activate the automatic launch of the special. Furthermore, it gives int, slasher, and free spirit characters 2.75 times orb boost for 2 turns, which with his captain ability now becomes a 3-turn orb boost, and boosts the final tap of int, slasher, and free spirit character by 30%, can be stacked up to 200% maximum, okay? So this means that if you automatically launch the special, you'll get the orb boost, and then if you use his special again, then it will do other stuff, I guess. We'll continue on. Allows additive chain buffs to be buffed up to 2 times, and if you use the special twice in the same turn, buffs additive chain buffs by 0.7 and orb boost by 0.5. So you can make this a 3.25 times orb boost, and that will last for 3 turns with his captain ability activated. Interesting, very, very interesting. It's not like the greatest special ever. Like, adding resilience is pretty cool because you can tank death hits with that, but you don't really get like amazing buffs out of this because you need to have the orb boost activated to actually receive the healing, which means that, you know, you have to like get the auto activation for the orb boost, and then when you launch the special again, you will then go ahead and get the ability to heal. And then it says afterwards applies the resilience if you're 30% or above when the special is launched. So I don't know how good this is actually going to be. The design of this special is just really, really strange, so that's a weird one. But we move on to the superclass. You need to have 2 of the following, so any Straw Hat character, Yori, Laboon, or Crocus, and the effect reduces his own cooldown by 10 turns, which is what most of the other memories of Straw Hats have actually done. Reduces bind by 6 turns, and then boost the chain by 1.4 for 2 turns, so this is chain addition. Remember, when you launch the special, allows your additive chain buffs to be buffed 2 separate times, so you can actually stack this twice. And then it says if you've launched the special in the same turn, it buffs your chain by 0.7 and boosts the ores by 0.5, so this can be a, what is that? It's a 2.1 chain boost. That's pretty good. It's a lot of chain boost that you can get activated. So, you know, you could potentially use the superclass, and then the next turn you get the auto activation. I don't know. There's some cool things you could do with this to make this chain addition go to crazy heights, and then slashes become super slasher. So it's a very, very interesting set of skills. I don't know how much play these are going to be used because of these effects in particular. Like orb boost, a lot of characters do that. Adding damage to the final tap. Look, Brook has a final tap, as we know. I don't think this is that good for him, as we'll talk about in just a moment. But then making chain boost go to crazy heights, I guess that's kind of cool. And I guess specifically if you have to deal with silence, that's like the only reason I can see why you'd go out of your way to put this guy on your crew, right? So as for crewmate abilities, Int Slasher Free Spirit base attack by 100, Int and Tandem are beneficial. When an Int Slasher or Free Spirit captain uses their special, reduces cooldown by 10 turns. So most of the other memories of Straw Hats have this type of effect. Potential ability 1, when you're below 50%, you get a pinch heal. Potential ability 2 is going to be a 10% crit at an 80% chance of hitting. And then the final tap, you need 4 of the following characters. Any Straw Hat, Yori, Laboon, or Crocus. That, I didn't even see the condition before recording this video. That condition is ridiculously harsh. Of course, you can build around that, but that's pretty rough. But the effect is really good because it changes his own slot to Int, and adds 1 times damage dealt from the normal attacks of other Free Spirit characters this turn on top of the final damage. So this is the exact same type of final tap that we've seen from K-Dad, from Lilith. There's another one I think that I'm missing off the top of my head. I think it's the 9.5 anniversary Snake Man Film Red Luffy, which does it for strength teams. And of course, Luffy and the Straw Hats, that dual Super Sugo-Fest exclusive, does it for the whole crew. But this guy specifically doing it for Free Spirit characters is very good. So you could have a full team of Free Spirit units, you know, do a crap load of damage, and then end on this final tap, which basically doubles your damage, which is pretty wild. And, you know, with Brook giving additional damage to final tap, this is only counting for Brook's damage. Brook's damage that he does not account for this. So this is only based on the damage from your other Free Spirit characters, as it mentions here. So Brook's damage that he doesn't actually add to this final tap. So I don't know if that addition of the additional, you know, final tap damage really matters that much. Yes, it does give you more damage, but again, I don't think it's that great. But the final tap's good. I think this is a good final tap. It will see play because of how good this is, but of course you need to invest like tablets or dupes into him in order to get this to work, which is kind of the bad thing about it. And he's a Kizuna legend, so he's not going to be very accessible, which is the problem. His support effect, very, very interesting. Once per quest, if the supported character uses their special, reduces crew's silence by 5 turns. So as we know now, this is not special bind. This is actually the silence effect where your character cannot be swiped on. So this actually could be good. Unfortunately, only attaching to Yori, Crocus, and Laboon, which is not a good array of units, unfortunately, but it's a very unique support nonetheless, which is good. Now, the Rumble stuff is also kind of fascinating. So his Rumble special, 27 CT. Enemies in a large horizontal range for 2.5 damage. You get a 50% chance of halving stats on those same units for 20 seconds. Okay, this is really weirdly worded, but the way this is worded means that it does the damage, then it does the half stats. So that makes 0 sense. And then targets Free Spirit allies for level 5 CT increase only for 10 seconds. I would have preferred if this was like level 3, but for like 20 seconds, to be honest. It's fine. But the way that this is worded, it does the half stat chance after the damage has already been dealt, which makes 0 freaking sense. So if that is the case, as it's worded, this is just a kind of an average special. For 27 CT, though, that's actually not bad. Now that I think about it, 27 CT for this special is actually okay, but it's just, it could be better, you know? As for the Rumble ability, it is actually very good though. Free Spirit allies, level 6 HP, speed, and crit, and then revives Free Spirit allies 1 time at 50% health. So this is the exact same type of effect as Super Tandem Luffy for the Dex teams, where whenever one of your Free Spirit characters die, he just revives them 1 time. So that's really cool. I like that they've got that. And because of that, I think that he will see maybe some niche usages, like it could see play potentially, but the thing is if like Free Spirit teams are already really good right now, and I don't know if this guy can slide into that because you've already got like Gear 5 or even Luffy Yamato, right, as like your Luffy slot. You've got Rush Sanji, who's phenomenal. You've got Enma Zoro, who's very good defensively. You've got Nami Karina. I just don't know where this character slides in. I mean, even like Law and Kid, for example, are still a pretty good Free Spirit unit too, so I'm not too sure about that one. This character does ignore half stats, which is actually pretty neat too. So Brook is fascinating. I don't know how good he's going to be. I mean, he has a lot of potential, but I don't think he's going to find place, at least in Rumble teams, and I think he might be difficult to build for because you need to build a very specific team for his final tap to launch. And even then, because of how good some of the Rush Sugo specials that we have these days are, I don't know if like his final tap will outdamage some of the Rush Sugo specials that we currently have, because if you do this, you can't use Side Gear 5's rush, you can't use any of the 10th anniversary rushes. You could use them as like the first tap, as like Luffy, Shanks, and Ace. You know, you can use them as the first tap, but then again, like Ace is the Free Spirit unit, right? Whereas like Shanks and Luffy, they're not Free Spirit focused, so it's not really going to work with this. But Ace in particular, you could use Ace rush first and then end on this guy's final tap. That is something that you could potentially do, right? So Brook's interesting. We move on though, and we've got Yorkie. So Yorkie's going to be debuting as a Kizuna rare recruit with Brook, and this guy is going to be an int slasher Free Spirit. Let's have a look and see what he does. So his captain ability, well, that's interesting. Makes slasher and Free Spirit characters' normal attacks effective against all types. That's actually good. What? Yeah, we got to see more of this stuff. This is kind of cracked. I mean, 3 times attack obviously is garbage, but like, does this have potential? Like, could you actually use this guy as a captain with like a hybrid of a friend captain being something else that's super busted, just to make all of your characters have super effective damage? I don't know. It's something to explore potentially. You know, that seems pretty interesting. That's weird. All right. Special reduces despair by 6. Changes, well actually that's really good because you can have Whitey Bay support because he is a slasher, which means you could actually remove like despair and bind by a further 2 turns, so that's good. Changes block into int, not tandem. Changes block slots into int slots. Makes int slots beneficial for the crew for 3 turns. Boosts slasher and Free Spirit characters attack by 2.25 for 3 turns. And if Brook is on the crew or as a support on this unit, extends the chain buff by 1 turn and buffs it by 0.7. So this works with the Brook, of course, as you can double stack your chains, which means you can make your chain from Brook become a 2.8 chain edition, which is the best chain boost in the game. That is wild. That is insanely good. And you can also buff it by a further 1 turn. So you can make like a 4 turn 2.8 chain boost. That's wild, right? He makes your crew immune to blindness, additional stats for slasher Free Spirit, pinch heal and crit, and support. Once per quest, if the supported character uses their special, reduces despair by 1 and buffs your chain additive boost by 0.5, only attaching to Brook. So yeah, this is still pretty good too, having as a support for Brook to make that chain boost last even longer, or to make it even more potent, should I say. So that's pretty cool. So Yorkie is fascinating. That captain ability is really interesting, actually. Really interesting. And then we got this little cute baby Laboon. He's so cute. Baby Laboon is going to be a support rare recruit. 1 cost character, Free Spirit powerhouse. So, of course, he's going to be on a support banner, which is separate to Yorkie and Brook. So, the rest of these effects don't really make much sense. You don't need to worry about them. It's just about this support. So, the support only attaches to int type Yorkie, Crocus, Luffy, Brook, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, or Sanji. So it's a pretty good array of units that it attaches to. And then once per quest, if you use the special of the unit, reduces right column character's special cooldown by 1, and for 1 turn, further buffs chain additive boost launched by the crew from specials and from support effects after this support effect is launched by 0.5. Okay, so again, it's just further buffing chain additions, which is fine. I really don't think that going out of your way to pull for this support is really that great. Like, I think it's cool that it gives cooldown reduction to your right side. Like, it would have been better if it was for the whole crew, but this is still pretty cool. This could have some use, but for, you know, going out of your way to pull for the support rare recruit just to buff your chains by 0.5, yes, it could be good for getting around chain attack down, for example, but I just don't think it's overly worth it. Even though Laboon is really cute, I think unfortunately this one is one that you can kind of skip. So, and then also tying in with this Kizuna stuff here is going to be with Gecko Moria. So this is the free-to-play unit that we actually get. Surprise, surprise, we actually get a free-to-play unit this Kizuna Clash, and he super evolves. He starts as a 5-star and he goes into a 5-star plus, and this unit here being a dex-driven powerhouse, and this guy actually looks really solid for a free-to-play unit. Let's see this captain ability. 4.5 when slots match, HP, heals the crew for every perfect, reduces his own special reverse and special bind by 6. As a captain, this is good because he does remove special bind as a sub. So he also does cooldown with his special as well. So this is really cool. The special ability though reduces powerhouse and driven characters cooldowns by 1 turn. It is annoying that it's only for powerhouse and driven, but it's still better than nothing, I guess. Heals the crew by number of enemies defeated by normal attacks multiplied by 10 times his recovery at the end of the enemy's turn for 2 turns. Okay, so he provides healing. Interesting. I wonder if this counts, right? So there was like this old Oars character that came out a really long time ago. He's like a Neo Colosseum character, and his support only attaches to Moria, and it says once per turn, or once per adventure, when the supported character uses a healing special, reduces threshold and barrier by 2 turns. This is so good, but there's just hardly any Gecko Morias that do healing effects. If this counts, it is interesting because it does do the recovery at the end of the enemy's turn, so it's not an immediate heal, it's a heal at the end of the turn. So I'm not too sure if Oars will trigger with this. If it does, this character just goes up a peg in terms of how good this unit is. If it doesn't, it's still going to be good, but you know, it could be so much better if that support actually works with this unit. It also reduces special bind by 6, does 100 times his attack and dex damage at the end of the turn for 3 turns to all enemies. Very good. If your crew's health is 51% or above when you launch the special, you get a driven and powerhouse 1.75 all boost for 5 turns. And if the crew's HP is below 51%, you get the driven powerhouse 3 turn 2.25 all boost. So this character does a lot. Cooldown reduction, end of turn heal, end of turn damage, special bind reduction, and then an all boost. He does 5 different things with his special. Really, really good character. He also resists the special reverse and special bind, which is great, usable as a sub. The dex slots are beneficial to those characters, and I mean the rumble is kind of whatever, no one really cares about that, but yeah, this character seems pretty good for a free-to-play unit, so it's definitely something to look forward to. So that is going to wrap it up in terms of the Brook stuff. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. I think Brook is a very fascinating character. Yori seems pretty interesting as well. Laboon is a bit of a disappointment, and the free-to-play Gecko Moria I'm a big fan of, actually. So that's my opinions and breakdown of these units. What are your opinions? Do you like these new characters? I'm just ready to look forward to a different celebration, you know what I mean? But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.